All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Frank Opinions. I'm Adam,
And I'm Tasker.
and we have officially made it through the Thanksgiving season.
And
So
you
I
know
hope
what that
everybody had a
means.
great Thanksgiving. You had a good time with your families, had safe travels, everything was awesome. You watched some good movies, and we were able to help you through some of your travels, take up some of that time, and provide a small piece of happiness.
Hopefully made you laugh on the way too.
But as Tasker is alluding to, it is Christmas time.
'Tis the season. The best
When
season.
we're well on our way into the 25 days of Christmas here. This will be day 2. So, in natural fashion, we will stick with the same theme and go for holiday movies. And this holiday obviously is Christmas, and there is no shortage of Christmas movies.
Oh. Plenty,
So,
plenty.
we're going to jump right into it. We're going to review Tasker's movie first.
Alright. So I'm going with the classic. I consider it a classic. 1996 Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. Jingle All the Way.
That movie has let's see, the other character in it. That's Bruce Willis, ain't it?
What? No. Bruce Willis.
Yeah, wasn't it Bruce Willis and Arnold's in a jet and there's a skyscraper and
Oh, you're thinking of Die Hard.
oh okay,
No,
which is
that's a
not a Christmas movie.
that's a Christmas movie. Well,
Anyway,
everyone knows
okay,
it. But
yeah. So
anyways,
Jingle All the Way. If you don't know it, it's Turbo Time.
it's Turbo Time. And I mean, basics of the movie. He's this busy businessman, and his son is wanting him to be there for him, like visit like his karate stuff and all that stuff.
Yeah, typical '90s movie. Daddy's not there.
Yeah,
He's a businessman. No one else done anything in the '90s other than work in cities and be businessmen.
yeah. So it comes around like the kid tells him, which the kid is actually the young Anakin Skywalker in Star Wars Phantom Menace. It's the
Yep.
same kid. And he tells his dad, he's like, I want the Turbo Man doll. And Arnold's like, okay. He's like, I got you. And he goes up to his wife later that night, and he's like, yeah. He's like, you should have seen us. We're Bond and everything. He's like talking about this Turbo Man doll and blah blah blah. She's like, oh yeah, that reminds me. You got it right 2 weeks ago when I told you to get it. And Arnold's face just basically goes ghost white when he didn't pick it up. And it's Christmas, like the next day is Christmas Eve, and now he has to search for the hottest selling toy for that Christmas, Turbo Man.
And like the adventure he goes on was a very true story for many parents for many decades. But now that's kind of a thing of a past. You just order the shit online now. You ain't even got to go to the store.
Yeah. I mean, you don't have to fight for anything right now except for a PlayStation 5, but that's a different story.
Yeah, and I mean, I finally got that son of a bitch, and that was my Turbo Man. Took a year to get that thing.
I'm still searching.
I didn't have to go beat the streets down like Arnold did though.
Yep.
And I mean, his total procrastination led to it, but it didn't help that his neighbor kept upselling him on, I've got Turbo Man nestled safely under my tree.
Yeah.
I bought him 7 months ago. Yeah, so his neighbor, which is, what's old dude's name?
His name's Phil Hartman.
Let's take a moment of silence for Phil Hartman. He took 3 rounds to the chest from his wife.
Yep. Very, very unusual, crazy.
So if that doesn't jade that movie a little bit for you, knowing when you're watching it, this guy's being the family man of the year, is that in real life? I don't guess he really was.
Yeah, who knows?
Right. For all we know, Carol Baskin's involved. But yeah, he's the next door neighbor who's like Mr. Perfect. He's like all his kids, right? Or his kids are, he's always top notch with them. His
Yeah,
house is always prim and proper. He's always there.
yeah, and he's
He's a
always
complete
like, all the neighbors
opposite.
love him.
Yeah, he's a complete opposite of Arnold's character.
Yep.
And then it has another character in it that time has all but forgotten. And that's Sinbad.
Sinbad. Yep. He
Man, that
played
guy
the
was a
postal guy.
genie. He was everywhere.
Yeah, he quickly disappeared.
But yeah, he was a postal worker trying
Yep.
to get Turbo Man for his son. And swiftly becomes the arch nemesis of Arnold.
Yep. Because they're all standing outside a store waiting for the store to open. And the Sinbad's like, "Oh, don't give Arnold a break." He's like, he's trying to get a Turbo Man, for his son too, and he's like, "I got you." And that's when they open the doors, and I mean, crowds of people rush that store, tearing it apart, trying to find a Turbo Man. But the only thing they had was the I can't remember the bad guy's name.
Booster.
Well, they had
Booster.
Booster, and then they had the bad guy, and I don't remember him either. What was his name? I don't remember.
God, I can't remember his name either. I just remember like all the stores had Booster,
Yeah,
which was like the sidekick, like pink saber tooth thing.
Yeah,
and they were always like, Booster, everybody hates me.
Yeah, Arnold's like, we need a Turbo Man doll, and the guy's like, well, we're all sold out. And he's like, but if you want, you can get his trusty sidekick Booster.
And Sinbad's like, man, nobody likes Booster. Get it out of here.
And
I have to look up what the nemesis was.
I think it started with a D, like the Mentor.
I know he had like
that
fishbowl for a head.
Well, he had
the Mentor.
The Mentor?
Right.
Oh,
yep.
Okay.
Yep. Bingo. Yeah, he had his brain was up there.
Yeah. But they find out that there's another spot in a mall to get a Turbo Man, and they're giving away like little bounce balls with numbers on them. And if they call out your number, you'll be able to get a Turbo Man doll. And then everyone's they're slowly handing the balls out and everything, and then they throw the balls out of the buckets. It goes insane, and balls are bouncing around all over the place, and Arnold's trying to grab one, and that's when the old Sinbad maces Arnold in the face to take his ball away from him. And I mean, it goes downhill from the first when he leaves the house.
Dude, the funniest part is when he buys the black market Turbo Man.
Oh yeah, the group of Santas.
The back alley warehouse Santas.
Yeah, he goes there with one. He's like, they're like, all right, it's $300. He's like, $300. He hands it to him. They hand him the Turbo Man wrapped up already. And he starts opening it, or he presses down, and it starts speaking Spanish. And the Santa guy's like, "See, look, it's educational and fun." And that's when the whole fight just breaks out. Arnold fighting Santas left and right. And that's also too a special guest appearance is the Big Show shows up. He's the huge giant Santa that fights him.
Who was it?
The Big Show from WWE.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, that was him. And that's what one thing you had the little person Santa on top of Arnold just fighting his head, and Big Show pulls his fist back to go punch Arnold. And Arnold ducks down. He just hits the little guy and sends him across the whole room. And he smashes into some boxes, and Big Show's like, little buddy.
Oh yeah, yeah. That is a very good movie. It's one that it was a good pick for starting out because if you go and watch it after this, it's a good reminder that if you haven't got the gift that you believe someone's expecting or your significant other is expecting you to get, this is a good reminder of the hell you could go through.
Yep. So you better start now.
Oh yeah, man. And in the end of it, somehow they get down to the the Christmas parade where there's a Turbo Man float,
Yep.
and they get in the dressing room, and Arnold becomes Turbo Man, Sinbad becomes Dementor, and they're literally fighting for real on the Christmas Day float.
Yeah. And everyone
Because
watching it thinks it's all part of the show.
and Arnold's punching these little guys. You can get off me. And he's shooting these discs into Sinbad's head. And
That's
then
what.
the float stops, and he has one Turbo Man doll to give away.
Yeah, he
He's
gives
like,
it to his son.
Jamie, I pick you. He knows my name. He knows your name. The other dad. He knows your name. Oh God. He's the whole time he's hitting on Arnold's wife.
Yeah, he's
Like,
trying to get with her.
yeah, he's like pouring her eggnog and cookies and all that, and then he realizes her husband's Turbo Man. He's like, "Oh God!" He takes off running. Of course, it ends with a good moral. He, this Arnold's son gives up the Turbo Man doll to Sinbad's son
Yep, gives
because
it
he
to
said
him.
he didn't need the Turbo Man when he had the real version.
Yep.
Which is awesome because on there, when they put Arnold in the suit and they're telling him all the features of it that actually work, the
Oh.
jetpack's real. If you want to initiate it, you hit these two buttons. What?
Yeah,
This
he said
arm, this arm shoots discs. This arm shoots.
they're talking about the other guy. He couldn't make it last short notice because the jetpack or something like hurt him. He's like, but it's okay. This morning they said he's got brain activity, so that's good news. Oh,
I'm trying to think who that actor was. That was a relatively famous guy.
who
The guy that's the director that's telling him all that. He was in the scary movies and stuff.
was it? That guy?
I'm pretty sure because wasn't he the one off the first scary movie?
I don't believe so.
Because it just seems like he feels. I feel like he's. I remember him from other movies.
Was it the Santa and the first Santa that drug him to the group of Santas was old Jim Belushi.
Right. I'm
Yeah.
doing a quick cast run down here and see if I see him.
Yes, I don't think so.
My gosh, there was a ton of people in that movie that I didn't realize.
Yeah, there's quite a few people.
Okay, yeah, but anyway, so your FOFR Frank Opinions film rating score for this was.
So I'm gonna give it an 8 for Jingle All the Way.
I'm gonna give it a 7.
Okay.
It's a fun holiday movie. It hits home with the rush of needing presents, and so you can relate to it. Uh, the acting's very 90s,
Yep.
so I
Got that
didn't ding
90s
it for
feel.
that. Yeah, I didn't dig it for that, but there's a scene with a reindeer that's pretty iconic that I really didn't like.
Yeah, it was okay.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest downfall of that movie for me is the reindeer scene.
Which probably I'd say everyone knows the saying Arnold is his quote in the movie. Most famous quote in the movie, I believe, is "Put that cookie down." I mean, And plus, it's also on Disney Plus to watch if anyone has the Disney Plus.
Right. If
So
you wanted to support that, I won't go any further. But if you want
yep.
to support that, it's on Disney Plus.
But shifting over to your movie,
Yes, my movie that I picked is Four Christmases, which got Reese Witherspoon, and I totally blanked on that guy's name. God
oh
dang it.
my god, I can't believe this.
I did. I totally blanked on it. This
I
whole
was
Sinbad thing's got me sideways because I was like, man, I wonder what happened to him. Is this his health decline?
I'm sitting here, I was
Thanks a
just
lot.
waiting for you.
Thanks a lot, media, for keeping up with our famous 90 actors. This is terrible. But anyways, Vince Vaughn,
There you
Reese
go.
Witherspoon, they're this couple living in the city. It starts out and like you they're in a like a kind of party, and you think that they're meeting for the first time, and there's like that awkward exchange where he's being real nice to her, and then she acts like the bad girl. She walks away, and he's like, "Bitch, I'm talking to you," and like the whole club shuts down. Like it's like. So, but then it goes on. You find out they've been together for 3 years, and every Christmas they travel somewhere. They go to a different part of the world, go to a different beach, different just a different location, and they come up with different reasons of why they're going there. They're building houses for villages, inoculating babies, or it's all kinds of inoculating for it's always something charity work.
Yep.
And this is all in the point to avoid going to their four families because of their mom and dad's being divorced. So each one of them has two households they have to go to. And they really don't know each other's backstory a whole lot because they've not went to their families in those 3 years that they've been together. But their flights get delayed out of San Francisco due to fog, and they were going to leave out the next morning, but a camera crew comes up and asks them how the delays has affected their vacation. And of course, their families see this, so then they don't have any other choice but to drive back. So, what's the ironic thing of most of it is if you realize they get in the vehicle and drive there to these places on Christmas and are able to hit all four places in one day.
Yep.
So that means in retrospect, they all live very close to each other.
Yeah.
But, it is San Francisco. It's a big town. It's a big city. Obviously, you probably wouldn't run into them because it seems like the dad, Vince Vaughn's dad, lived out more in the countryside, and then they went suburbs and then cities. So it's very easy that you wouldn't find them, but I think it's funny that they really couldn't have been that far away.
Yep. They were so close.
Yeah, but then they drive up first to Vince Vaughn's dad's place, which is that I can't even think. The one I that's all famous people. Let me spit it out. That's at that place.
Well, his dad was Robert Duvall. That's the actor's name. Famous.
And then he had Tim McGraw was one of the brothers.
Yeah, he's one of the brothers, and John Farver.
Yep. Marvel there. Shit, I'm trying to remember his name in Marvel.
Oh, Happy. Yep.
And even the wife, she's pretty famous too with sitcoms.
Yeah. Yep.
And one thing I didn't realize is one of Tim McGraw's, the oldest boy, he's the oldest son in the new Vacation.
Yeah, he's been in a lot of stuff too.
Yeah, so like that right out of the bat, it's chocked full of famous people, good actors.
Yep.
And oh, Happy there's a tatted up MMA fighter. Like as soon as they're sitting in the vehicle and they're coming up with like a safe word for if things get too weird, they get out of the house. And they come up with mistletoe. And but as soon as he walks through the door, he gets taken down. Like Happy and Timbergall, man, they're like, bam, they're on top of him,
Yeah.
beating him down, just kicking his butt. And his dad's laughing. Everybody's having a good time. And then she figures out that his name's not Brad, it's Orlando. And this all happens within seconds. And he has to go to the room. They go to the room, put their coat up so he can take a minute. And like, she gives him a pep talk. It's like, you're a grown man. You need to stand up for yourself. Tell him that that's not okay. And he goes out there and tells him that. He's telling her, he was like, listen, these aren't normal people. They're MMA fighters. It's like cockfighting, but with people. And he was like, they're ruthless.
That's what I like too when they're talking. She's like, why didn't you tell me your name's Orlando? And he's like, because he's like, if your name was, I can't remember what he says. He's like, if your name was this.
Yeah, he was like, because I hated the name Orlando. So with the Brad, if you started out and your name was Asshole, you wouldn't start with that.
Yeah.
It would be like, oh, hi, my name was Asshole, but I call myself Bob now.
Yeah, you just go, I'm Bob.
But yeah, he walks out there and says his piece. They all look at him and then just take him out again.
Yeah,
and then the kids get involved. The kids are on top of him, slapping him.
And that's what that vacation kid's like on top of him. He's like, Google me.
Yeah. Google my name, bitch. And he goes to punch him and they call it.
Yeah.
And he was like, let's just open gifts. And the Happy's wife's like, did you guys have probably had a lot of trouble finding gifts that are under $10? He was like, what? They're $10 cap. We don't spend no more than that. First kid opens up an Xbox 360.
He's like, oh my God. And I love Tim Grohl looks up. He's like, where'd you find an Xbox for $10?
Yeah, I'd like to know where in the hell you found an Xbox for $10. And he's like, here he hands the younger kid a gift. This one's from your dad. It's an old flashlight. And he was like, this sucks. Dad doesn't love me. I hope Santa does. Well, that's going to be hard because Santa is your dad.
Yeah, that's what he's like. He's like, I think that's going to be kind of hard because Santa's probably going to be hitting around the $10 mark too.
Yeah, considering he's your dad. And they're like, Santa's not real. Kid strips down naked, runs out the window, jumps out the window. He's like, he deals with emotion by shrieking. Don't worry, he'll always come home. And then the freaking best part is when he gets his dad that satellite dish.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, the installers will be out Monday. Ain't no one installs this. We'll install it ourselves.
He's like, you think I'm going to let a pedophile in here and sniff my drawers? Right. He's like, no.
They all get up there, and Vince Vaughn's putting it on there while the rest of them stand there and drink beer and tell him how he's doing it wrong. And then that kid runs out and he was like, hey, Grandpa, you going to play with me? And he's like, are you play guns with her? He's like, no, not now. I'm busy, can't you see? And he's like, well, Grandma's new boyfriend plays with me. Well, you can tell your grandma that her new boyfriend's an ass licker. And you can tell him I said it. Then he's like, go in and get me some beer. And oh my God, he's trying to adjust it. And the dad's yelling at him, telling him the picture's not coming here, that he bought a broke satellite dish. And he's like, pulling on it. And they're like, you gotta point it towards the satellites in the sky. And he was like, you bought me a broken satellite. It's a satellite dish. It's not a satellite. And the baby's in there crying. And he's pulling on it, and it comes disconnected, and he falls off the roof of the house. And it rips the cord off the wall.
Oh my god. It rips
It
everything
just
off the walls.
destroys it. And then Reese Witherspoon turns real quick and bounces that baby's head off the cabinet door.
After she got it to stop crying for
Right. And then it ends right there. He's laying in the bushes. He's like, mistletoe.
her.
Mistletoe. Oh, man. It just keeps it like there's not a dull moment in it because when they go to the next family or to go to her mom's,
Yeah.
it just, it goes,
It keeps going. Like, it doesn't stop.
yeah, like it does a 90 on her. Like it was all Vince Vaughn and then it goes to her. And like, she tells him when they roll up, they're like, now I just want to warn you, it's a bit of a cougar's den in here. And like the mom and the sisters and grandma are all like all about him. They're all like hitting on him and making comments. And like when she brings him in, her sister's there. And she won't get up for her sister, but then he walks in and she like
She just
gets up,
jumps
hands the
up.
babies up. And she's like, oh, hi. She's like, oh, okay, you can get up for him.
Hands the baby right over to her husband.
Yeah, she's like, look how good he is with kids. He's playing games, not
Yeah,
even paying
yeah,
him
not
any
even-
attention. But I love it when they're like, there's no presents being exchanged this year. Only what we want to give more of. And that kid's like, what?
That's
This
probably the best.
sucks.
That whole scene right there is probably the best in that movie.
Oh, yeah, the grandma.
Yep.
When she says all that stuff about the grandpa that's laying there that never wakes up.
Yep.
And like, Vince Vaughn, when you look at his face and he's like eating the whole time he's eating because they're giving him like cookies and stuff like that. And he says at one point, he was like, man, I kind of feel like a Saudi prince here getting all this. They just keep bringing him stuff. But she says that and he stops chewing and he's looking around like, is anyone else hearing that?
Yeah. He looks at Reese and he's like, "Did she just say that?"
Yeah. Then they're like, Brad, let's see you go next. And he goes, oh, I've got to follow up Graham here. I don't think I can. No. And then, when that baby throws up on Reese Witherspoon,
Oh
And-
my god.
oh man, I relate to Vince Vaughn so much on that. Where he's like, you gotta get it away. You gotta go. Just go.
too.
I'm gonna throw it up there. I can't do it.
I just
And she
feel.
go-
I feel like when that happened, like Vince Vaughn had no idea what was about to happen
yeah,
because
right.
his reaction is just so. Oh my.
Yeah, right. I know. I feel it. I've been in that situation, and I feel it. I'm like, just dang it, you gotta go. And then while she's getting cleaned up, the whole family's sitting down there with him with the photo album, and he learns about Joe, and he was like, "You've been the longest guy relationship she's ever had," and he's like, "Guy." It's like, yeah, her only other friend in school was a girl named Josephine, but they called her Joe. He gets up there and he was like, you want to talk about, he was like, about having skeletons in the closet with my name being Orlando. You didn't tell me about Joe. Josephine was my best friend. We done everything together. He was like, oh, really? And it's like, yeah. We used to play a game called Beach where I'd get in my bikini and she'd rub lotion on me to make sure I didn't sunburn. And he was like, really? Are you sure Joe didn't have other intentions? And then he finds out she was really fat. And they sent her to fat camp. And he's like, he tells her, once he learns all this, he was like, he said, you can't throw stones when you live in a house of Joe. He's giving her all that crap and the bounce house scene.
Yeah.
Where she goes in there and just smacks down those kids. Like they beat her up. They get round one, but then she gets back in. She's like, give me the pregnancy test. Like she's calling it a marker and just slays these kids. Like she's just like body slamming them and like throwing them into the walls.
And her niece climbs up on one side and she puts it in her mouth. And she
Oh
looks up
yeah,
at her.
yeah. I peed on that. And all them kids popped up. Oh, I love it. She's getting beat up and she's looking through the window. And they're all like, "Oh, look, she's in the bouncy house. I didn't think she'd play with the kids." And she's like,
She's having
"This
so
whole
much
time."
fun.
And they're all waving and stuff, and she's just getting her ass beat. But the best part is when they go to church. Like,
Oh, yeah.
how they had time to do all this in one day is just astounding. And they go to this church, which is one of the, like, over the top churches.
Oh, yeah.
And they get volunteered to replace Mary and Joseph in the nativity scene in the play. And she was like, "You need to be Mary. Remember you were in Pippin." "Yeah, I was in Pippin. I was a tree. I wasn't Pippin."
Yeah. And everyone hollers at her to stand up, and she looks at Brad and she's like, "All right, you need to come too." And he's like, "I wasn't in Pippin."
Yeah. He was like, "I don't have the stage time that you have. I can't. I was in Pippin. I can't get up there." And so he gets volunteered and he's back here memorizing the lines. And he was like, "I gotta get ready. Red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather."
He's asking her, he's like, does my shorts come up too, like, is this too high, too?
Yeah. And he's totally getting in the moment. They walk out there. And like the baby's real. They shouldn't we be getting a fake baby? Get a real baby Jesus? And she goes out there. First thing she's got to do is swaddle the baby, but there's the swaddle is not in the basket. He's got it on his robe. He's got it hanging off of the front of his like belt.
Yep.
And she's got like a washcloth trying to wrap this like Michelin tire looking baby. Like his baby's huge. And it was like, and Mary swaddled the baby. It kind of pauses for a little bit. And it's like, and Mary swaddled the baby.
Yeah,
and he was like, "You gotta swaddle the baby." It was like, "You gotta swaddle this baby." Like, we're losing audience here.
He's like, "I gotta save my lawn."
Yeah, he's like, I gotta bring it back. This child is a blessing for the both of us. And everybody started, they're like, "Yeah." And he was like, "This woman is unfit to be a mother. I shall swaddle this baby myself." He's like, "Praise the Lord."
Everyone jumps up chair and they start playing, they play a classic song. I can't think of it now.
Yeah, and like, he like throws his hands up and he's standing backwards, like shaking his butt. And they come off stage and he's high-fiving people and he's dancing. I think it's like Old Happy Day or something, ain't it?
I think something like that. I know it's a classic. Everyone knows it. It's a classic.
Yeah, and like Reese Witherspoon was just totally embarrassed on stage. Like he totally like railroaded her. And then he gets out in the audience and he's dancing and clapping and everybody's praising him.
And that's what I love too. Where they show Reese Witherspoon's like on the screen, just her, and you see Vince Vaughn like towering over her. He's not even on the screen, and like he's dancing, you just see him, and he just pops up onto the screen like, right? Woo!
Yeah, yeah, because he's dressed as Joseph, and he's out there like, but dancing and headbanging back and forth, and when they're in the car ride out there, he was like, "Man, the energy was just insane." He was like, "I know how Celine Dion feels." It's just, that part was so awesome. And then they go on, and it's Vince Vaughn's mom.
Yep.
Who is married to his high school best friend. He's like, "Hey man," he was like, "I want to give you gas money for coming down here." He's like, "I don't want your money."
Yeah, he looks at me.
Like, "Don't be like that, man.
I just want to be friends."
Yeah, I thought we were friends. We were friends, best friends actually, back in school. That's it. You married my mother, and now we can't be friends. I can't be friends with someone who's married to my mom. It just doesn't work like that.
Yeah, he looks at him. He's like, "Listen," he's like, "I didn't have any sexual thoughts until I was 30.
Oh man, and then That's another just awesome part is when they play charades
Well, they're not playing charades. It's taboo.
or yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, where they got to guess what's on the card
Yeah.
or what the word is without saying the words on the card. And he goes, his mom on the one where she's like, "This is what I am," and he's like, "Cradle robber." And then when it gets to Happy and his wife, remember?
Well,
He's
right
like, "All right,
before they
he's
were,
like, get your
she was giving out the syrup, uh, hints. She's like, "Remember you dripped this on me." And Vince Vaughn's like,
yeah."
"Okay, make this stop."
He was like, "Wax before the wax, chocolate, no before the chocolate. Please stop, please." And he's like, "Oh, syrup is very sticky. It's very messy. Just letting you know. I don't
yeah,
want to know."
yeah,
But when
John
it goes,
Favreau.
yeah, when it goes to his character and his wife, and he's like, "All right, your turn." He's eating chicken wings. He's like,
Just
"Are you?"
staring at Vince Vaughn
Yeah,
the
he's
whole
like, "Are you
time.
just gonna eat chicken wings the whole time? Just turn the timer over." Like, it's like bullet accuracy,
Yeah.
and all of them is like, he's like, she's like, "This is the only man you'd be okay with me cheating on you with." I forget who he says.
I know one. She's like, that time that you got drunk and then we had to come up with something. He's like, "Oh, alibi."
Yeah, she was like, "That time you got drunk last Thursday." Oh, alibi. And then like, she's like, "That Mexican dude." He says whoever it is. Then they get there and they're like, "Oh my god, it was amazing. How many was it? 7." They're like legit, like in sync and tune with each other. And it gets a Vince Vaughn and Reese, and she's terrible at explaining like what it is. And she was like, "It's this time that I was on the bar dancing, and my stuff fell out." And he's like, "Huh?
He's like,
What?
"What?"
What? That's not how this works." And his mom keeps buzzing for everything.
Yeah. He's like,
"Mom,
I'm not
you
the one.
don't
I
buzz
can say
me."
it.
I can say the word on the card. That's the point. I'm trying to guess it. Stop buzzing me. But yeah, that's at the point that it all starts falling apart. And then it turns around and it ends at her father's house. And that side of it's kind of more lighthearted.
Yeah, that's where like you start. Because on their way to her father's house, that's when Vince Vaughn, because she was kind of Reese was feeling that she might want kids now, and then Vince
Yeah.
was like, "No, I'm not. No," and they kind of break up right there.
Yeah, and then the last part gets kind of more the moral of the story. And then they everything gets worked out a year later, they have a baby, but they haven't told anyone in their family.
And it's the first New Year baby.
And it's the first baby of the new year, and the news crew comes in and it's like, "How's it feel to have you guys have the first baby of the new year?" And they're like, every
Yeah,
time
Vince
a
Vaughn's
camera
like,
comes on, Vince Vaughn locks up and he's like, "Oh,
He's like, yeah, the suction, yeah,
yeah,
stuff.
dude, there was a lot of the baby that was just there." But yeah, as far
And
as the
that,
FOA,
well, that's when the baby upchucks again, and
oh yeah, that's
it gets
right,
on him.
right. He's like, I can't. It's in my mouth. It's in my mouth." Yeah, and I like I was getting going to the FOFR score for this for me. I'm gonna give it an 8.5.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 8.8 for it.
Yeah, it's got a lot of good parts in it. It's chocked full of famous people. There's a lot of one-liners in there. There's a lot of things that like Vince Vaughn does in Vince Vaughn fashion, where he just adds it in where he's talking real fast.
Oh yeah, I mean, and plus, like, you can't hate on Vince Vaughn. It's Vince Vaughn.
Right,
I mean,
and like that's one of the few movies that Reese Witherspoon's in that I like her. Like I typically don't care for her acting in all the other movies I've seen her in, but in this one where it was a comedy, it kind of worked for her.
yeah,
I have a hard time not seeing her in Legally Blonde. And I have a hard time getting that out of my head. So to see her as someone else, it's rough. You probably ain't even seen that movie.
I've seen it. Legally Blonde 2. Yeah, I know all about those.
Right. Do you not picture Reese Witherspoon as that?
Yeah, when I think, yeah, that's all I think. It's Legally Blonde. That's all I think of her.
Right. And it's not
So
like when you think Vince Vaughn, you just think funny.
yeah,
Like, or serial killer. I don't
yeah.
know.
I mean, when I think
Or
Vince
teenage
Vaughn,
girl.
I think yeah,
He played a very good teenage girl. Yeah, he's just done so much funny stuff.
yeah. That's what I mean. Like when I think Vince Vaughn, I just know like he's not going to disappoint me. If he's in a movie, it's probably going to be pretty good, decent.
Oh, yeah.
It's not going to
One
fail.
of my favorite movies is Wedding Crashers. I
See,
love that movie.
I don't think I've ever watched Wedding Crashers.
Oh, my God.
I think I might have watched a little bit, but I don't recall.
That has some of the best quotes of all
Well,
time in it.
I know a bunch of quotes from it, but I've just seen
Will
snippets
Ferrell's
of
in
it.
that movie.
I know.
That's like the comedy trio. I mean, it's. Oh, God. Mom! Milo! You don't know the best place to crash? A funeral. Oh, my God. But definitely not a Christmas movie.
No.
It's definitely not a family movie. Four Christmases, family movie.
Family movie.
Jingle
Yep.
All the Way, family movie.
All family.
I think both of those PG-13.
Yeah, I believe so.
Because I think that Jingle All the Way's it's PG-13 just because of probably that stupid reindeer scene.
Actually,
Maybe the
no.
fight.
Jingle All
Maybe
the
the
Way is
fight
PG.
scenes. Is it really?
It's PG. Yep.
Even with the fight scenes in it?
Yeah, it's PG.
Huh. And the drunk Santas?
Yeah. Surprisingly, yeah.
Well, I know Four Christmases is PG-13.
Yeah, it's PG-13.
That's crazy that Jingle All the Way is PG. That's at 80s, 90s film ratings.
Yep.
But on a side note, you actually have Turbo Man, don't you?
I do have the Turbo Man doll. They released it a couple months ago actually. It's like came out and I found it at Walmart. I'm like, it's turbo time.
I know after the movie came out, they made it was a limited run of them, and they sold out just as fast as they did in the movie.
Yeah.
It's turbo time. What's funny is when you watch the cartoon in the background, it's just like Power Rangers.
Oh yeah.
Like they ripped it off like big time with the minions and all that, how they fight. But it is a very good time, and I'll definitely be watching it this season, this Christmas season. I haven't seen. I've already watched Four Christmases.
Yeah, I have to already.
I freaking love that movie. Laughing my ass off on that movie.
See, that's
You bought me a broken satellite.
I've
It's a
sat down.
satellite dish.
I've sat down and looked like at Christmas movies and everything. Like I've got a feel of my top 10 Christmas movies. But Four Christmases is in my top 5 for sure.
Yeah. I mean, you got so many genres in these Christmas movies.
I know.
It's really hard because coming off Thanksgiving, there really wasn't not a whole lot of Thanksgiving movies.
No.
But you've got like the heartstring movies in this. The comedies.
Yeah, you got the comedy, the drama, you got everything in this.
You even got horror.
Yep. Horror movies.
Yeah. Like Krampus.
Yep.
I actually enjoyed that movie.
Never seen
It's pretty cool.
it.
Right. We established in October you weren't a
Yeah,
horror movie guy.
yeah. Let's get that back to the audience knowing that. Yeah, I'm not that.
And I mean, honestly, I'll probably pick Krampus in one of these reviews.
Oh, okay.
So some of the horror movie people can get, a little happiness out of all this Christmas joy.
Well, I have
There
to mark.
is a dark side.
I have to mark that on my list to watch. Then.
Dude, it's freaking awesome. It even has a moral to it.
Hmm.
And that's like we were talking outside of here. There's a lot of movies that I didn't even realize that was Christmas.
Oh yeah, there's tons.
Like Gremlins.
Yeah,
Like
Gremlins.
I'm not gonna review Gremlins. I won't pick it. I love Gizmo. The Gremlins, that's some funny stuff, but like that happened during Christmas. And it's a classic movie. I encourage you to go watch it. But
You got
I don't
Lethal
even
Weapon. That was a happened during Christmas.
yeah, that's like Die Hard.
Which Die Hard is a Christmas movie, and I stand by
I know a lot of people do.
it.
I like you've got it's crazy because you've got classics like was it The Miracle on 35th Street,
Mm-hmm.
which that's like, a heartstrings movie. You got cartoons like the original claymation
Yeah.
that are classics, Charlie Brown. And then you got the Grinch with that cartoon there.
Yeah.
I mean,
A
I was
wide
watching.
range of stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, even me and my daughter was watching the original Winnie the Pooh Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. You couldn't. There's no way to cover all of them, even within our episodes this month, and even crossing all the genres of the movies. It's insane how many Christmas movies there is. Which brings me back to the point. And someone needs to throw some love towards Thanksgiving. You know, like that's like I'm saying like that's like giving thanks, right? That's the whole. It's in the title.
Yeah.
I'm not talking like some of this Pocahontas, John Smith, Found America bullshit. That didn't happen. I'm telling you right now, it didn't happen. He hit. Everybody knows he didn't hit continental U.S. It just they really needed to tell that story a lot better in high school. I'm not talking about that guy. I'm talking about it's just the time of giving thanks. And I think we could come up with many movies around it.
Oh yeah, you definitely could.
But yeah, in fashion, we'll be staying with Christmas titles for the rest of this month. We might break away for a Matrix Revolutions review.
I say, I don't know about that one, but I do know one that we need to break away to.
That's a series. Cobra Kai.
Well, that's for sure. With that, there's no ifs, ands, or buts on that one.
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
talking about Spider-Man.
yeah, no one really cares about that.
Listen, I am so hyped about that movie.
Listen, I'm telling you straight right now, if Tobey Maguire's not in it, I'll never watch another Spider-Man movie in my life again. If we get all this hype that it's got multiple Spideys in it,
All
and
if it,
I don't see Tobey Maguire, I'm gonna be so pissed. I mean, I'm gonna be so pissed.
yeah, I'll lose.
I don't care how many villains they bring back. I don't care if they bring in the animated villains from freaking Miles Morales. I don't care if it's all live action and then there's a cartoon character like Roger Rabbit running in the background. I need to see Tobey Maguire because that's my Spider-Man.
Yeah, if Toby and Andrew aren't in it, I don't know what to do. Like I'll just lose my mind. I think I'll give up on Marvel.
I will. I'll straight give up on it. I don't give a shit. Until we get to Morbius. That's a different story.
Yep.
But yeah, powerhouse month for movies coming out. The Wachowski sisters, I'm thinking to make sure that they don't F up Matrix.
Listen, it's already in the books. They screwed it up.
I don't know. I've been seeing more and more on trailers, and they're releasing a little bit more. You're not seeing that weird. Like, is this just a remake of the first one?
Well, because it's only like 15-second clips.
Well, but they're releasing more of it, and it showed more of the story.
Yeah, but still,
I don't know, dude. I'm pretty pumped for it.
I don't know.
I'm
It's gonna be.
waiting for
Is it gonna be on
blow
HBO
my
Max?
mind. Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll definitely tune in for it then.
Yeah, and then Cobra Kai's Netflix.
Yep. At the end of the month, the 31st. What a way
And
to
then-
end 2021.
Oh, I know. That's the same way they did last year. And then we totally forgot they actually gave it to us in January.
Yeah, the same
basically.
January 1st of 2021, which is weird.
This year. Yeah. Like January 1st, they gave us that. I binge watched it in one day.
Yep.
And then totally forgot they even aired that in 2021. Like the whole rest of the year, I'm bitching when are we gonna get a new Cobra Kai? It's been like forever.
Yeah.
Like, no, it was actually just earlier this year. No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was just a couple months ago.
So yeah, super stoked for the All Valley tournament.
Well, I'll definitely have to binge watch season 1 through 3 again.
Seen the best meme that showed Mr. Miyagi looking down from heaven.
Oh god,
And
I
it
saw
said-
that too.
I see everybody rooting for Cobra Kai.
Yeah, I saw that.
But yeah, it says Mr. Miyagi watching everybody root for Cobra Kai. Oh man. Yeah. Cobra Kai never dies. Love it. Can't wait. Super stoked. But to that point, that's it for this week's episode. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you drop your comments in either one of our Instagrams or on these get posted to YouTube also, so you can hit comments there. And it's on all major streaming platforms. So,
Yep.
that being said, I'm Adam.
And I'm Tasker, and that was Frank Opinions.